Fu Lei betrayed me and had sex with a female college student. And after learning about this, I resolutely accepted the pursuit of the men's university. When he confirmed that the woman was pregnant, he did not hesitate to file for divorce. Divorce? You can't give birth, but there is always someone who can give birth to me, he said indifferently. Okay. I answered calmly. Fu Lei didn't seem to expect that I would agree so cheerfully. You Niannian don't regret it. I will never regret it. I only regret that I didn't know people clearly and paid for my feelings by mistake. I gently touched my flat lower abdomen, and a burst of warmth surged in my heart, and the corners of my mouth couldn't help rising. In fact, the person who has never been able to give birth has never been me. 01. I received a video. In the video, the man leaned on the sofa casually, tightly hugging the woman with a slightly bulging abdomen in his arms. He gently stroked her belly, and his eyes were full of pampering. Brother Lei, I'm pregnant with your child. You have to be responsible for me. A woman is coquettish and relies on a man with a delicate voice. The man obviously enjoyed this kind of coquettishness and responded with a smile. Okay, I will be responsible to the end. The woman smiled and joked. What about my sister-in-law? Hearing the woman mention me, the man's face showed a contemptuous expression without concealment. What's the difference between a woman who can't have children and a hen who doesn't lay eggs? If she is sensible, she should leave by herself. In the video, the man's demeaning and abuse are constantly mixed with the woman's smug laughter. And I am the egg-laying hen in his mouth. He Fu Lei is my husband who has been married for 7 years. This is not the first time I have received evidence of his cheating. From the initial anger and sadness to despair to the current calm, I have experienced too many emotional twists and turns. The mobile phone prompt keeps ringing, which is a message from that woman. Old woman, you also saw it. I'm pregnant with Brother Lei's child. Let's be interesting and leave quickly. How can a woman who can't have children dominate Brother Lei for so many years? Don't say you love him, you don't deserve it. Brother Lei said that he only has responsibility for you, not love. If you hadn't saved him, he wouldn't have looked at you more. He thinks you are dirty. Then she sent a large-scale photo of the two intimate people. One message after another, the dirty words are getting more and more serious, but I'm too lazy to read it anymore. Staring at that photo, I suddenly felt that everything became meaningless. I muttered softly, Fu Lei, I don't want you anymore. After saying that, I felt relieved. Sitting in front of the makeup mirror, I looked at the familiar and strange face in the mirror and couldn't help asking myself, is this still me? Where did the once proud and confident Niannian go? I touched my waxy yellow face, and my heart surged with bitterness. After taking a deep breath, I picked up my mobile phone and replied a message to the woman. Since you like to pick up the garbage I threw away so much, please pick it up cleanly. If I stay with garbage for a long time, I will feel sick. You'd better act quickly, otherwise the scene may not be so good when I deal with it myself. After the successful transmission, I feel more relaxed than ever. I know that I have completely put it down. The mobile phone vibrated again. Niannian, you are really awesome, wait for me. This tone is obviously Fu Lei's. I responded disdainfully. Yo, do you have the ability to say it in person? You don't even dare to go back to your family. You only dare to use your little lover's mobile phone as a keyboard hero. Wait at home, I'll be right back. Don't run, he said provocatively. I rolled my eyes and threw my mobile phone on the sofa and put on my favorite robe. Navel suspenders and hip-wrap skirts are ready for battle. 02. Unfortunately, after falling in love with Fu Lei, he began to control me a lot. What is the standard of a good girl? The length of the skirt must be ankle length, the clothes must not be exposed, and so on. At first I thought it was because he loved me too much that he controlled me so much. However, in a quarrel, he inadvertently revealed the truth. Niannian, have you forgotten that you were stalked and harassed by men? Although he only touched his buttocks, he was touched by other men, which is an indisputable fact. I'm just generous. Even if you're not clean, I won't abandon you. I was speechless for a moment. After being touched a few times, it was not clean? Am I willing to be harassed? Isn't it because he offended people and was beaten in the alley? I called the police to save him and was hated? I really want to tell him that he died early in the morning. Now women don't wrap their little feet, but his mind has become so narrow. In the past, I was deceived by his gentle and considerate mask and automatically added a filter to him. I always felt that everything he did was for my good. Although I don't understand some of his behaviors, I always think that he must have his reasons for doing so. Now that I think about it, I'm really speechless. I didn't expect that I still have the potential of a love brain. With a bang, the door was vigorously opened. Fu Lei walked in with a calm face and walked in angrily. Niannian, what do you mean? Looking at his slightly swollen eyelids and gray-black eye bags, I only felt nauseous. Didn't you propose to divorce me? I agreed to divorce, I said calmly. No, I have to give way to your little lover quickly. After all, her belly is getting bigger and bigger, And it's not me who will be ashamed at that time. Look, I know more about it. Seeing my indifferent face, a trace of panic flashed on Fu Lei's face. Just pretend. You Niannian, you love me so much that you are willing to give me to another woman. He looked indisbelievable. That I looked helpless. Where did he get his confidence? Ah yes. Only when I love you so much can I be willing to fulfill you. So let's get a divorce. If I keep talking I'm going to spit it out. Fu Lei raised his eyebrows and looked at me with a look that he couldn't wait to swallow me alive. Divorce if you want to? You Niannian, you are dreaming. You were born with my Fu Lei, and your death is also my Fu Lei's ghost, he said viciously. Vomit, he is really greasy. Obviously it was him who cheated on me, but he was also the one who let his little lover provoke me. What's more ironic is that after confirming that her little lover was pregnant, he immediately filed for divorce. Now I promised to give way but he didn't agree. It's really cheap. Unfortunately he can wait but I can't wait. I lowered my head and looked at my lower abdomen, and my eyes were full of love. Joke, his little lover Fu Lei can wait, but my stomach can't wait. The young and handsome man is really good. His inexhaustible strength is exciting to think about. Thinking of a clingy man, I unconsciously curled the corners of my mouth. There's nothing I can do. Then I have to tell my parents, I said helplessly. Hearing me mention my parents-in-law, Fu Lei paused and then looked indifferent. Go ahead. Let's see if my parents are facing me or you. He looked confident and looked like he was holding it. Seeing him like this my heart suddenly sank. 03. My parents-in-law love me very much. From love to marriage, they almost regard me as their own, like a daughter with no blood relationship. Whether I was wrong or not, they always stood behind me unswervingly and gave me endless support. However, I ignored one fact. Even if they love me again, Fu Lei is always their only son. When I fell into silence, Fu Lei's tone softened. Niannian, let's live a good life as before. You love me so much that I can't live without you. Moreover, my parents also hope that we will always be happy. For the sake of my parents, I won't divorce you. You are old, so don't be petty like a little girl. You can't give birth and leave me. Who else dares to want you? As for Cheerfully, she is just a child's temper. You are old. Why are you still as angry as a little girl? Although this matter was provoked by her, she is pregnant now. It is normal for pregnant women to be emotionally unstable. Be lenient and don't argue with her. If you can't give birth, I wouldn't have gone to someone else. Now that Cheerfully is pregnant, you should give her a little. When the child is born, as long as you are obedient, maybe I will consider holding it for you. Listening to Fu Lei's endless words, I finally couldn't stand it anymore and raised my hand to slap him twice. Bang! Bang! The world is finally pure. TSK. This fly that ate shit is not only annoying but also stinky. After saying that, I pinched my nose with one hand and fanned it in front of my nose with the other hand, making a disgusted expression. You Niannian, do you dare to hit me? Fu Lei obviously didn't expect that I would do it. How can you be willing to hit me? You were not like this before. Obviously, you used to love me very much. Looking at his stupidity, I'm going to commit stupidity. You also said it, that was before. I rolled my eyes. No, I don't believe it. You love me so much. How can you say you won't love me if you don't love me? It seems that he still doesn't understand me. If I hadn't been disappointed enough, how could I suddenly stop loving? Niannian, I can understand that you are in a bad mood. As for the divorce that day, I drank too much and was about to say confused words for a moment. What you say when you are not clear-headed is not true. As you know, I'm 33, and I don't have a son and a daughter yet. Over the years, you haven't been able to have children, and I have endured it. You can't not understand me just because I made a mistake that all men in the world will make. Oh, he still knows that I'm in a bad mood. It's really hard for him. Men all over the world have really been bloody for 8 lifetimes, and inexplicably bear this big black pot. Fu Lei, I can't think of anything else to say between you and you except divorce. Hearing the words, Fu Lei's face changed slightly, and he turned around. You are emotionally unstable, and I don't argue with you. I can also forgive you for slapping me. You Niannian, think about it carefully. Which other man is so good to you than me? I don't want to pay attention to him. Why didn't I find him so shameless before? Brother Lei, didn't you say you would come back and inform her to divorce? Cheerfully's whispering voice came from the door. Fu Lei, the little lover, is far less innocent than she showed. I know very well when she and Fu Lei hooked up, when they kissed and when they opened the room. 04. All this is really thanks to the little third sister in front of me. I don't know if she really knows nothing about the law, doesn't understand what the husband and wife's common property is, or she doesn't care about these at all. The record of the two of them opening a room together, I have a clear grasp of every penny Lei spent for her, the luxury goods she bought, and even the weight of gold. Every timeline, every event, and every item are firmly held in my hands. This little girl in her early 20s, even if she is deep-minded, can't resist the mentality of showing off and showing off. In my opinion, Her self-righteous provocations are all real evidence of cheating. Xiaowei, why are you here? As Fu Lei said, he gently hugged Wang Rui's shoulder. Seeing that Fu Lei still cared about her so much in front of me, Wang Rui's vanity was greatly satisfied. If I hadn't followed you uneasy, wouldn't I have missed a big show of retreating and progressing? After saying that, she supported her waist with one hand and touched her stomach with the other hand, and let Fu Lei hold her and walk to the sofa. Looking at the familiar and intimate appearance of the two, I only felt nauseous. Looking at Wang Rui's skillful appearance when she entered the room, I'm afraid the two of them are hanging out at home. Fu Lei, you really disgust me. Anyway, I don't want anything related to Fu Lei. Seeing that Fu Lei ignored me, Wang Rui became more and more arrogant. She spread her legs and sat on the sofa, deliberately touching her belly in my direction, with a showy and smug face. Humph. If I remember correctly, she seems to be only more than 4 months pregnant, right? Not long after my belly appeared pregnant, it looked like I was going to give birth. My toes were tight when I saw it. I made the old mistake of being embarrassed for others again. I raised my hand and looked at the watch. It was still early. It's only 2:30 now, and the Civil Affairs Bureau hasn't left work yet. How about we go together? I said it on purpose. Wang Rui straightened her stomach and sarcastically said that I was going back and forward. I simply messed up and let her know what crazy literature is. I'll apply for a divorce certificate with Fu Lei first, and then you two will apply for a marriage certificate directly. A divorce certificate in the left hand and a marriage certificate in the right hand. How beautiful it is. I said sarcastically. Seeing that I was serious and not joking, Wang Rui was not happy. Are you sick? Divorce is such a gloomy thing. Why is it on the same day as my happy day? She said dissatisfiedly. Turns out that she still knows what bad luck is. 05. You're right. Such a festive day as divorce, of course, can't collide with the day of your marriage, which is really bad luck. I said sarcastically. Who do you think is angry? Wang Rui asked back dissatisfiedly. Who calls is who? Isn't it clear? I responded unceremoniously. You, Brother Lei, she bullied me. Wang Rui said coquettishly to deal with Lei. Fu Lei hugged Wang Rui and coaxed him in a low voice, but when he looked at me, there was a trace of clearness in his eyebrows. You Niannian, apologize. He ordered. Too mentally retarded. I cursed in my heart. While it's still early, you two should go to the hospital to see a psychiatrist. Now that medicine is so developed, if you have a disease you have to cure it. You can't avoid the doctor. I said without mercy. You. Read. I asked you to apologize to Xiaowei. Don't let me say it for the 3rd time. Fu Lei is obviously impatient. Mad dogs not only like to bark, but also can't understand human speech. I'm angry in my heart. It's easy to get tired during pregnancy, but now I have to deal with these 2 mad dogs. It's really annoying. What's your dog's name again? I couldn't bear to ask back. Or while it's still early, go and divorce. Or you two get out of here. I don't want to be entangled with them anymore. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. I want to calm down. It's not worth getting angry for the 2 beasts. It's not good to be angry. Wang Rui's stomach has been pregnant for 4 months, and she is pregnant after 3 months. And my stomach is only more than a month old, so I have to be more careful. It's useless to keep a hen that doesn't lay eggs, but it's a waste of food. Such useless things are usually slaughtered by the owner. Wang Rui began her vicious attack again. Someone has been married to Brother Lei for 7 years, and has not given birth to a son and a daughter for Brother Lei. What's the difference between this and a hen that doesn't lay eggs? She looked at me proudly. Fortunately, she is so kind enough to call me sister-in-law. This cheek is also invincible. That is to say, is there a possibility? We all blame the hen. It's not that she doesn't lay eggs, but that there's something wrong with the chicken coop. I mean something. Wang Rui's eyes flashed, and her mood suddenly became irritable. Old woman, let me tell you, don't be ignorant of good and evil, and try to continue to pester Brother Lei. Otherwise you will end up like that hen. She threatened me viciously. Open your mouth to the hen, shut up the hen. Did the hen provoke her? Let the hen go. It's not easy for the hen. I sighed helplessly. Don't pretend to be crazy and stupid to me. Brother Lei just wants to have his own child. Since you can't give birth to him, you should be self-conscious and take the initiative to make room. The more Wang Rui said, the more excited she became. Fearing that she would be too excited to hurt the child in her stomach, Fu Lei hurried to calm her down. Don't be angry, don't be angry. Be careful and don't hurt our precious son. He flattered in a low voice. Looking at Fu Lei's appearance, my heart ached for a moment. He used to be so careful with me, and we also loved each other sweetly. But when did this relationship change? Probably when I was stalked and harassed. I was touched by a strange man several times. Or did I put the hat of not being able to give birth on my head because I was afraid that he would feel uncomfortable? In an instant, all kinds of things in the past kept emerging in front of me. I don't think I still have feelings for him, but I don't feel worth the feelings I have devoted myself to. Suddenly I feel tired and don't want to continue to climb. Cherue, right? Are you sure you are pregnant with Fu Lei's child? I asked her coldly. Originally, I wanted to wait for Wang Rui to give birth to the child and then go to the door to congratulate Fu Lei's infertility examination report, but at this moment I suddenly didn't want to wait any longer. After all, it's really not worth wasting time for two beasts. 06. Old woman, what on earth do you mean? Wang Rui's tone seemed a little impatient. I smiled contemptuously. That's what it means. Brother Lei is my first love. I gave him all my first love. If the child in my belly is not his, who else can he belong? Wang Rui retorted excitedly. I'm not as dirty as some people. She continued to mock. Looking at Wang Rui's appearance that a dead pig is not afraid of boiling water, I sincerely admire her cheekiness. Is that so? My eyes became sharp, and my voice dropped to freezing point. Unfortunately in this marriage, the person who can't have children has never been me. After saying that, I glanced at Fu Lei and then looked elsewhere. Fu Lei is a congenital aspermia patient. He can't make a woman pregnant in his life. I turned my head and looked straight at Wang Rui. So I'm very curious, Miss Wang Rui. How did you get pregnant with this child with sperm? Wang Rui was stunned and speechless for a moment. Niannian, what are you talking about? It's ridiculous. Fu Lei finally couldn't help opening his mouth. After all, it was related to his male dignity. We have been in love for 3 years, been married for 7 years, and have been in a relationship for 10 years. I really didn't expect you to tell such a vicious lie at all costs to achieve your goal. Fu Lei accused me angrily. The sentence, he is the one who can't give birth, directly made Fu Lei lose his mind. I don't want you, a vicious-hearted yellow-faced woman. He roared. You want a divorce, don't you? Okay, I promise you. Fu Lei continued to shout. Divorce. Whoever doesn't leave is a bastard. He provoked further. Okay. I answered softly, and this was exactly the result I was waiting for. As if he didn't expect that I would agree so quickly, a trace of panic flashed on Fu Lei's face. Niannian, you should think about it clearly. Don't regret it. He tried to find the field. Never regret it. I answered firmly, only regretting that I didn't stop the loss immediately when I found out that he was cheating. Brother Lei, don't forget to let her get out of the house. Wang Rui, who came back to her senses, did not forget to continue to stir up the flames. She has delayed you for so many years, and now she is still guilty of not giving birth to you. She is so cruel, Brother Lei. You must not be soft-hearted. In terms of psychological quality, this junior is really not a cover. Up to now, she can continue to act. She may not know that Fu Lei went crazy and even beat women. I'm looking forward to her ending more and more. A person with anesthesia can't have his own child in his life. A woman with a chaotic private life doesn't even know who the child in her belly is. I said coldly, you two are really a natural match. Be sure to lock it up and don't harm others. I kindly blessed them, but some people don't. Great. Old woman, I'm fighting with you. Wang Rui suddenly got up and no longer pretended to be a pregnant woman in labor. She rushed to me and stretched out her claws to slap me. I held her wrist with one hand, shook it hard and slapped her with my backhand. Years of fighting training are not in vain. Since I was harassed, I have signed up for a fighting class for myself. How dare you hit me? You even beat pregnant women. I'm going to call the police. Wang Rui covered her face and roared. I spread my hands together with an indifferent attitude. Report it and see if the police officer arrests you or me. When I said grab you, Wang Rui trembled obviously and seemed to be a little scared. Looking at her reaction, is there a bigger melon? Thinking of this, I took out my mobile phone and pretended to call the police. Oh, why didn't I expect to call the police? The third sister is still experienced and knows a lot. 07. Seeing that I really wanted to call the police, Wang Rui's expression instantly became panicked. Ouch, I have a stomachache, Brother Lei, I have a stomachache. A clear-sighted person knew at a glance that she was pretending. Unfortunately, Fu Lei is a blind guy. Niannian, you'd better pray that the child in Sharui's belly is okay, or I won't let you go. Brother Lei, I'm afraid. Wang Rui continued her performance. Sharui, don't be afraid. I won't let our children have trouble. After saying that, Fu Lei hurriedly picked up Wang Rui and left. Me. These two people really refreshed my understanding of stupidity. In order to avoid dreaming a lot at night, I decided to go to my parents-in-law. To be honest, the only thing I can't bear to divorce Fu Lei is these two old people. Over the years they have been really good to me. On the way, the mobile phone suddenly rang, which was someone's exclusive ringtone. I pressed the answer button, and his poor voice came from the headphones. Sister, I miss you so much. Hearing this voice, his coquettish and pitiful appearance appeared in my mind. Your legs are on you, and no one is tying you up. In fact, I don't miss him. Did you promise? Sister, is that what I understand? I have a child and I don't have feelings for him. Why don't you try it? I responded softly. The meeting between me and Jing Qian is actually not glorious. In the 3rd year of his marriage with Fu Lei, he began to cheat on his sister and wander among different women. From the questioning and assurance at the beginning, to the later anger and verbal PUA, he tortured me over and over again. If it weren't for my parents' love and undisguised preference, I really couldn't live. I comforted myself for a while. Anyway, Fu Lei couldn't give birth, and there was no risk of illegitimate children. In this way, he maintained the superficial husband and wife and lived in a muddle. Until Wang Rui became pregnant, my father-in-law and mother-in-law also warned me to be considerate of her young age and pregnant with Fu Lei's child, and asked me not to argue with pregnant women. Their actions completely crushed my idea of passing by. At that time I was in a very bad mood. I ran to the bar alone to get drunk and met Jing Qian. What can I say? At a glance I feel that he is amazing. It was the first time I found that I was actually a dog. It can't be helped. Jing Qian's long face is more beautiful than that of modeling. With the help of the wine, I threw myself into his arms and didn't forget to touch him in a daze. At this moment, a voice kept circling in my mind. The rotten cucumber addicted to cheating is not worth my sadness. There are many good men in the world. I worst change one. Beauty, you are drunk. The man's tolerant voice sounded in his ear. I responded with a big tongue. I'm not drunk. Also, call me sister. You flirt with me when you're not drunk, sister. Do you like me? Who doesn't love the young and handsome puppy? What's wrong with flirting with you? What's wrong with you? My head is dizzy and I don't have a door in my mouth. Hearing this, a slight smile appeared on his well-aged handsome face. Don't regret it. What should have happened in the future and what should not have happened? My husband cheated on me, and I turned around and promised to pursue the male university _139103. Tong happened. Although he was drunk, there were no fragments. That's right, I remember the whole process. Because I remember everything, my toes have cut out a fairy castle at this moment. I turned my head and looked at Jing Qian's young face full of collagen, and my sense of morality suddenly came online. 08. I raised my hand and slapped myself, and the crisp sound echoed in the air. Bang! I'm so damned. My little conscience has also begun to be condemned. Just as I was about to slap myself in the face again, I found that my hand was held by a big hand. Does your sister regret it? While talking, Jing Qian looked at me pitifully with a pair of dog eyes. I avoided his burning eyes and choked on my throat and said, Everyone is an adult. How can you regret what you want? Jing Qian stared at me for a long time, and the enthusiasm in his eyes gradually disappeared. Okay, I get it. I thought he really understood, but who knew he just changed the track. After that night, he began to appear frequently, flirting with me from time to time. Seeing that my face was wrong, he put on a pitiful look. I couldn't stand his aggrieved look, so I said, Keep up and let's talk. Hearing the words, his eyes flashed, and the stars were shining in his eyes. Sister, your eyes tell me that you like me. Young people like to play straight ball, which makes my heart pound as an old man. I held my disobedient heartbeat and said coldly, Jing Qian, you don't know me. This makes someone displeased. Niannian, 29 years old, whose parents died early, married her boyfriend Fu Lei, who had been in a relationship for 3 years 7 years ago. His parents are so good to you that you can't bear to lose the long-lost family warmth. Therefore, you have tolerated Fu Lei's cheating again and again. Niannian, if they really care about you, they won't let their son learn from you like this. I'm good to you, but it's because Fu Lei can't give birth, and I'm afraid that his son won't be able to marry a wife. Enough. They are not that kind of people. In this way, Jing Qian and I were unhappy to break up. The muddy days were interrupted by a phone call. Sister-in-law, come and persuade Brother Chun. If you drink anymore, you will kill people. Where are you? Number 688, Xiaoyao County. Okay, I'll be right there. It's also a person who doesn't go to the bar to drink and runs to the hotel. I didn't think much about it and rushed there. Knocking on the door, I found that the door was not locked. I didn't care and just opened the door and went in. Jing Qian, where are you? There was the sound of dripping water in the bathroom, and I followed the sound. Jing Qian. With a bang, a pair of big palms pulled me into a hot ball and let the shower wet me from head to end. The familiar cold sandalwood came to the tip of my nose, and I couldn't resist it and fell again. A month later, I often feel nauseous, vomit, have no appetite, and I can't cheer up. My life has been a mess recently. My aunt hasn't come for a long time and I didn't even notice it. After buying a pregnancy test stick and measuring 2 red bars, I knew I couldn't escape anymore. Jing Qian, don't come to me for the time being. Also, don't think about redoing the old trick, I will be angry. When I finish this messy life, I will go to see him in a refreshing way. I'm heartbroken to let Jing Qian follow me inexplicably. After sending the message, my thoughts drifted far away. I suddenly remembered what Jing Qian's buddy lied to me with his mobile phone. After a hind, I realized, God TMD made a lot of life. 09. Fu Lei's parents now live in a large house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms left by my parents before their death. enjoying a spacious and comfortable living space. But Fu Lei and I are crowded into the nest with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room he bought with a premarital loan, living a tight life. Fu Lei's meager salary is never enough for him to squander himself. Therefore, the burden of mortgages has been on my shoulders over the years, and I have been bearing it silently. Before she quarreled with her best friend, she always persuaded me bitterly. Niannian, their family is all vampires, and Fu Leiming is pretending to eat your family. They just watched your parents leave early. No one gives you advice, no one supports you, so he is obviously bullying you and wants to pinch you at will. Why do you let the 2 old princes live in the house left to you by your parents? Also, why did he ask you to pay back the money he bought a house loan before marriage? My good thoughts wake up. Every time my best friend sees me, she looks like she hates me, reminding me repeatedly to pay attention to Fu Lei and his parents. At that time I was like a fool who was only carried away by love, with my left ear in and my right ear out, and I didn't put these words in my heart at all. Fu Lei, who has not cheated yet, is a filial husband of 24 filial husbands all day. He is gentle and considerate, and responds to everything. My parents-in-law also care about me and do everything to me. The dream of married life is just like this. The mirror flowers, water and moon are charming, and the long-lost family warmth makes me addicted to it, and unable to extricate myself. Until I found out that Fu Lei was cheating, my best friend couldn't bear to come to support me. Fu Lei, is Niannian not good enough for you? She loves you so much and you cheated on her behind her back. Do you still have a conscience? My best friend asked angrily. Fu Lei said coldly with a cold face. A woman who can't have children, what right does she have to take care of me? At that time I first found out that I didn't know Fu Lei. Looking at his disgusted face, I only felt suffocated. The husband I used to be familiar with turned out to be just an illusion. Fu Lei thought that he had caught my weakness and simply stopped pretending. Niannian, the plot of a good husband is amazing. Let's return to reality in the future, he said indifferently. After that I saw the real Fu Lei. I'm lazy to do, my eyes are low, and I don't go home after work. I directly follow my friends to spend the world and drink. During that time I felt that the sky was about to collapse. If it hadn't been for my parents-in-law looking at me, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to stand it long ago. For this reason my best friend scolded me. You Niannian, are you crazy without love? Fu Lei showed his true face. You were not sober yet. Unexpectedly, you were fooled by those 2 old kings. Are you going to make me angry? Ching, did you misunderstand? As I said, I tried to hold my best friend's hand. My parents are also for my good. They love me very much. Fu Lei is Fu Lei, and his parents are his parents. They can't be confused. After listening to my words, my best friend shook me off. You Niannian, you are really hopeless. At this point, my best friend is too lazy to care about me. When you come to this familiar environment, you will inevitably think of the past. I took the elevator to the 8th floor. At a glance, I found that the door was not closed. I was stunned and worried about the safety of the old man. 10. I accelerated my pace to the door and was about to go in, but I heard Wang Rui's familiar and sad voice. Whoa. Auntie, you have to be the master of me. Wang Rui sobbed and said, when I was with Brother Lei, I was an innocent girl. Why did you Niannian accuse me of not being pregnant with Brother Lei's child for no reason? She cleverly avoided the key problem. I was about to push the door in and interrupt the farce, but I didn't expect to hear the ugliest side of human nature next. Good boy, I really wronged you. The mother-in-law's voice revealed a deep eccentricity. That non-competious Niannian, she is jealous that you can continue the incense for our old Fu family. This familiar voice said such strange words, which made me feel a chill in my back. Is this still the mother-in-law who always smiles at me and is meticulous? Ruier, good boy. Mother-in-law's voice, the voice became more and more gentle. You should also persuade Xiaolei not to play childish temper. Divorce is not a joke. Auntie, Niannian can't give birth to a grandson for you. Why are you still protecting her? Wang Rui's voice was full of puzzles. You still don't understand. The mother-in-law's tone revealed shrewdness. If you coax her not to divorce, someone will repay Xiaolei's mortgage, and you and Uncle Fu and I can still live in a big house. When you give birth to a child, someone will help you take care of it. How can my child be taken care of by her? When she heard that the child wanted to bring it to me, Wang Rui was obviously very resisting. Alas, you are still young, and don't understand the hardships of taking care of children. The mother-in-law sighed and said, you take care of her day and night, and the child often cries. Can you stand this kind of day? Wang Rui immediately shook her head when she heard the words. I can't stand it. Looking at Wang Rui's appearance, the mother-in-law took her hand intimately and said, don't be afraid. When you give birth to a child, take good care of yourself. At that time, I will ask her to serve you and help you take care of the child. After your body recovers, you can enjoy your life with Xiaolei. Those tedious housework are all left to the uncompulsive Niannian to do. Hearing this, Wang Rui seemed to finally understand her mother-in-law's intention. So, have you been deceiving you Niannian all these years? Don't you really love her as a daughter? There was a hint of shock in Wang Rui's tone. When she mentioned me, a trace of disdain flashed in my mother-in-law's eyes. She is just a poor person who lacks love. If it weren't for her decent work in this house in the city center, you and Uncle Fu would not be too lazy to act with her. The door was closed and I stood outside the door motionless like a fool. It turns out that all this is fake. They have been acting for me. I really feel sorry for them to coax me like this at such an old age. The ancient said, the upper beam is not right and the lower beam is crooked. At this moment I deeply feel the wisdom of the ancients. I have always emphasized that Fu Lei is Fu Lei, and his parents are his parents, and they can't be confused. But now it seems that I was wrong. I originally wanted to try to get together and break up with Fu Lei for the sake of the old two. But now it seems that there is no need for this. I pushed the door open and said coldly, it's really hard for you to pretend to coax me at such an old age. When my mother-in-law saw me, her eyes immediately became as cold as a poisonous snake staring at its prey. Since you have found out, I don't bother to pretend anymore, she said with a natural face. Come and apologize to her first, and then go to the room to coax Xiao Lei. There was no panic or remorse on her face after being caught, which made me feel even more uncomfortable, as if someone was constantly piercing my heart with a needle. A dense tingling sensation rushed to my brain, and I only felt dizzy and my body trembled slightly. 11. At this moment, I recalled my best friend's bitter advice and Jing Qian's outspoken words. I just realized with hindsight that I had hurt those who really cared about and loved me for the sake of a few deep-sming white-eyed wolves. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. When I opened them again, my eyes were full of fierceness. Mom, this is the last time I call you mother. You really disappoint me, I said firmly. However, my mother-in-law obviously didn't take my words seriously. She curled her lips disdainfully. What's the point of disappointment? Women are less pretentious when they are old. If it hadn't been for Xiaolei to be you at the beginning, would you have thought you were worthy of our family? Oh, it has to be me? It's so nice to say that it's not because I'm an only daughter, and my parents left early. They see that I'm beautiful, have a decent job, have real estate and savings in my hand, and I don't want your family to pay the dowry when I get married. I responded with a sneer. How dare you put gold on your face? If I hadn't been deceived by your false feelings, would I have been willing to marry into the Fu family? I will continue to reveal the truth. My mother-in-law's face became more and more ugly, as if I had poked the pain point. She roared angrily. Bitch embryo, shut up. It's just nonsense. You have been married to our Fu family for 7 years. Not to mention a son and a half-daughter. You haven't even laid an egg. If it hadn't been for our family to see you poor, I would have let you clean up and leave the house. The 3 generations of our old Fu family were almost destroyed in the hands of you, a little bitch. We haven't complained yet. Where did your face slander us? With that, the mother-in-law's face turned red, and the saliva in her mouth flew wildly. A pair of cloudy eyes were full of anger, and they couldn't wait to swallow me alive. I looked at her coldly and continued. I still accidentally learned from your mouth about Fu Lei's inability to have children. Otherwise, I wouldn't persuade Fu Lei to go to the hospital with me for a physical examination. If I hadn't been afraid that Fu Lei would not be able to withstand the blow, I wouldn't have blamed the infertility on myself. I just didn't expect that my deep affection was paid by mistake after all. At this time, Fu Lei came over with a tired face, followed by a calm-faced father-in-law. He looked at me with a trace of fatigue and helplessness in his eyes. Niannian, is what you said true? Niannian, I don't want to get a divorce. Let's take a step back. When the child is born, Wang Rui will be sent away. We just need to raise the child well. Honey, I will live a good life in the future. We will still be the same as before. What on earth did he think of me? A bereaved dog wagging its tail and begging for pity? Or is it a garbage station that collects all kinds of garbage? I looked at him angrily and couldn't help interrupting him. Fu Lei, are you really going to treat me so badly after 10 years with me? Fu Lei looked at me in astonishment, as if he didn't expect me to be so decisive. He hurriedly explained. Honey, don't be angry. I just did all this because I love you so much. I just want to get your attention to see if you will be jealous. Of course, I don't deny that I'm selfish and want a child. I interrupted Fu Lei impatiently. Don't worry, the mortgage has been settled. The money will be given to you. As for this house, it is the only thought my parents left me. Please move out as soon as possible. When dealing with Lei and his parents, I think I have done my best. 12. Wang Rui was sitting on the sofa watching the play, and suddenly heard that Fu Lei was going to have a mother and a son. How could she be so angry? Fu Lei, you a dead scumbag, actually want to get rid of me? She shouted in a high voice. I'm not the fool you Niannian. I will tolerate you without a bottom line for the so-called love and affection. Let me tell you, Fu Lei, either marry me, or transfer the house to me and give me another 800,000 yuan. Otherwise, don't blame me for tearing my face. Fu Lei was holding back his anger and had nowhere to vet. Seeing that his little lover, who had always been delicate, dared to threaten him, he was furious and kicked Wang Rui in the stomach. You bad guy, I gave you a face, right? He cursed viciously. Wang Rui didn't expect Fu Lei to do anything. She didn't have time to dodge and was kicked out more than 10 meters. She fainted in an instant, and bright red blood flowed out of her lower body. Looking at Wang Rui falling into a pool of blood, and the whole pregnant woman's skirt was dyed red, I only felt a burst of bad luck surging into my heart. Sorry, Mom and Dad. It's all my fault that I don't know people clearly, and I bring any beast home. Now it has also made our house dirty. My heart is full of guilt and self-reproach. Yo, the dog bites the dog. A familiar voice sounded with a joke. Jing Qian held his mobile phone, as if he had just made a phone call. His handsome face was dark, and his whole body exuded an aura that strangers should not approach. The slender figure stood beside me. He checked me carefully, for fear that I would suffer a little loss. It's not me who has something to do. I spread my hands and pointed my chin at the miserable Wang Rui. Seeing that I was really fine, the dangerous breath on Jing Qian's body slowly disappeared. He then put the tip of his nose on the slender collarbone, and his hand was not honest, half-muting my waist. Sister, I'm worried about you. He was coquettish and pretended to be good. The arrival of Jing Qian gradually relaxed my tense nerves. Good boy, I'll give you a name. I comforted him softly. Hearing the words, Jing Qian looked straight at me, and his eyes were full of stars. Okay. He responded obediently. Next, Jing Qian behaved ridiculously, like a warm-hearted golden hare. Good. I said, why did I suddenly get stiff? It turned out that I had a shin, and my heart was big and wild. My mother-in-law was the first to react and rushed over to hit me, but it was easily stopped by Jing Qian. If I were you, I would take my 2 eggless hulks and leave. He said coldly. Otherwise, I'm not happy and I'll shake my pants out for you. As soon as the words fell, Fu Lei, who had been silent, finally came back to his senses. Niannian, we're even. You betrayed me and I don't blame you. Even if you accidentally get pregnant, as long as you give birth to it, it will be my Fu Lei's own son. Fu Lei's every word jumps on the thunderbolt of Jingqi. TSK. It seems that my ex-husband already knows the truth. It doesn't matter if you like to wear this ancestral cuckold hat. My family Niannian has no obligation to accompany you. If you are willing to stay in the dirty pit, don't take Niannian with you. Her future scenery is beautiful. And you can rot in the mud and die by yourself. Jing Qian hit back unceremoniously. If it weren't for the wrong occasion, I would have praised well. I can speak, say more, love to listen. I only hate that I don't have the eloquence of Jingqi. Whose precious heart is this? He is so irrevocable. I joked. The sweetness on Jing Qian's face can't be hidden. I'm the treasure of my sister's family, and I belong to my sister's little heart. He responded proudly. Seeing that there was no one around me and Jing Qian, Fu Lei's hopeful eyes were completely extinguished. Niannian, don't you want me anymore? He asked helplessly. This guy's brain circuit is really abnormal. Isn't my performance obvious enough? Teen. I didn't want him for a long time. I said firmly. From the first time he cheated on me, my heart has not been on him. The moment he filed for divorce, I completely let him go. Seeing Fu Lei sitting on the ground decadently, the mother-in-law blushed in a hurry and began to say no words. You Niannian, you are a disaster star and a lowly embryo who killed your own father and mother. Let me tell you, if you want to divorce and be with this male vixen, there is no door. If we don't agree to divorce one day, he will always be a junior. Consume it. I'll see who can't stand it first. Bang. I never thought that my father-in-law, who had not spoken for a long time, would slap my mother-in-law. Fu Ming, how dare you hit me? Where has the mother-in-law, who has been spoiled for decades, been slapped? What's more, it's the father-in-law who has been obedient to her for half of his life. Now my mother-in-law has completely lost her mind. Fu Ming, I fought with you. After saying that, she threw down her father-in-law with brute force and rode on him and kept beating him. I've been married to you for more than 30 years, and you haven't let me live a good day. It was hard for my son to make a fut and found a soft persimmon with money and a house. As a result, you always talk nonsense and want to ruin my good things many times. Now that my son suddenly knows the truth, this is also your handwriting. Fu Ming, I'm not done with you. The truth? Jing Qian mentioned it, and now my mother-in-law also mentioned it. Is there any hidden love that I don't know? I roared. Enough. It's time to end this farce. Jing Qian, what's going on? Jing Qian nodded, and the disgust in his eyes almost overflowed. As far as I know, Fu Lei is not Fu Ming's child, because Fu Ming is not fertile at all. What do you mean? I asked in surprise. Simply put, Huang Shufan borrowed seeds to give birth to a child, and Fu Minggan was the real name Hulk, and Fu Lei is the product of that deformity. Jing Qian explained. Me. I thought Fu Lei was a congenital asthenia patient, and it was enough to be a painless father. Unexpectedly, his parents' melons exploded more than him. Fu Lei sat on the ground decadently, staring at me motionlessly. After looking at it for a long time, Yu said, "Wife, you should always be happy. There is nothing more sad than the death of the heart." I think that at this moment Fu Lei's blessing is sincere. Looking at the messy living room crying being in a daze in a coma, I felt a little uncomfortable. On the side, the mother-in-law was tired and lay on the ground and howled. The father-in-law was in a mess and did not forget to touch his mother-in-law's back to comfort her. When he came, his eyes looked at me, and his eyes were full of apology. At this moment I was suddenly relieved. "The police officer is here," I said calmly. "Officer." Seeing that my head was full of question marks, Jingqian said it. It turned out that Wang Rui's identity as a college student was fake. She has participated in many chain frauds, including but not limited to cheating marriages, collecting sky-high dowries, etc. The cumulative amount of fraud is as high as more than 60 million. There are countless victims who have reported to the police, but she is so cunning that she has been hiding in disguise. This time she was also fascinated by Fu Lei, who wanted to have a child. Fu Lei was born with good acting skills, and his emotional dramas were pure. Even an old man like Wang Rui was not his opponent. 14. The police officer arrived quickly and took away the unconscious Wang Rui. At the same time, Fu Lei and his parents were also taken to the police station for questioning. Their efficiency is really admirable. In just a few minutes, those who bothered me have been taken away. "Why didn't you take us to do transcripts or something else?" I asked doubtfully. That people involved in this kind of incident usually need to go to the police station. "Do you want to go?" Jingqian asked me seriously, as if as long as I nodded, he would take me to me immediately. "That's not a need," I answered with a smile. "Sister, you know a lot." Jingqian's tone was a little ambiguous, and his voice unconsciously began to be coquettish. "It's like this on TV. Don't worry, I've eaten pork and seen pigs running," I joked. Jingqian was speechless and could only look at me helplessly. "If you have a chance, I'll take you to chase pigs," I continued to joke, and the atmosphere became a little ambiguous. Jingqian hugged my waist. His movements became more and more skillful, and his seductive technique became more and more superb. However, I gently put his hands on my belly. "Here, a seed has sprouted for more than a month." His big palm trembled slightly, and I knew he understood what I meant. "I don't want to wait for a moment." Jingqian looked at me affectionately, and then he made a phone call. Not long after, a pair of kind old people appeared in front of us. "You are just Niannian, right? This kid finally caught up with you." They looked at me with love in their eyes. It turned out that Jingqian was the child who was saved by my parents 15 years ago. In those years, Jing's enterprise went bankrupt, and Jing and his wife committed suicide by jumping into the river with their 5-year-old son. In the turbulent river, the couple quickly lost their lives, and the little boy was rescued by a passing couple because of his light body and his mother's last effort. However, the kind couple lost their lives as a result. "Sister, you can beat me and scold me. Please don't want me." Jingqian carefully pulled my sleeve, and his expression was so fragile that it seemed that it would disappear in the next second. "Fool, it's not your fault. You are a gift from my parents. How can I not want you?" I comforted him softly. "People have passed away, and why should living people be bound by the past? We should look forward to the future, think about our loved ones, and strive to live a more wonderful life. Friends, you should pursue love bravely, cherish the people in front of you, and don't let yourself regret it." Later, Fu Lei took the initiative to find me, and we went through the divorce procedures calmly. Under the warm golden sun, we each took the divorce certificate and parted ways at the crossroads of life. The road of the future is like two parallel lines, and there is no intersection.